So welcome. So this is Math696. This is Math Communication and Technology. So we're going to be looking at two different things here: how we can effectively communicate math, and how we can use technology to help us effectively communicate math. So this is the syllabus. These office hours are going to change, but since like 3 people have to approve the syllabus every time I change it, I haven't changed it yet because I want to get the office. I need to make sure the office hours work for all of the 3 classes that I'm teaching, as well as things going on in my class. But I will let you know. It'll be today or tomorrow that those will get nailed down. Okay, so mathematical communication and technology, techniques of effective oral, written, and electronic communication of mathematics, introduction to contemporary computing tools, and there's really no prereq for this class. So I'm going to go over some of the stuff that we're going to be doing, but let me go over the syllabus first. There's three categories here, there's 2 categories here. There's weekly homework and there is discussion. Now, this is not a math class in the sense that we're going to be learning new mathematics or anything like that. So in that sense, it might be easier than a lot of your classes, but it doesn't mean that there's no work. There is going to be work that we're doing in this class. So you can look through some of these things here. This is the weekly schedule. So the first week, we're going to be looking at how to write mathematics. This is a paper written by Paul Halmos. Paul Halmos was a mathematician. He died a while ago, but he was a mathematician who was known to be a very good expositor of mathematics. So he wrote a paper sort of going over his philosophy about writing mathematics. Now, just because a lot of people recognize him as a good expositor of mathematics doesn't mean you have to recognize him that way. And even if you do recognize him to be a good expositor of mathematics like I do, it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that he writes. And so I think as we go through this, we'll have I hope to have some conversations about that. Okay, so these are the assignments that we have written here, or these are the weeks classes that we have here. And you can see at each week, there is, kind of the thing that we're doing and the assignment that's due that week. So every week there's going to be discussion, questions, and homework. So I want to go over that now. So I think you can read the rest of this. Okay. So these are the course modules. I've already got up to week 5 loaded in here. But notice that the modules are locked until the Sunday of the next week. Okay. So one of the things that we want to emphasize in the distance master's program is that this is not a self-paced program. We're doing this trying to simulate a normal classroom in some sense, while giving you some flexibility. But this is not a sort of thing where it's okay to wait until Saturday to do all of the work. We really need to all be moving through together throughout the entire week. And so I have designed the class to do that. So every week, there's going to be a rhythm every week. There's going to be a homework due every Monday at 11:59 p.m. And there's going to be 2 different discussions that we look at. Each discussion is going to require a total of 2 responses, or each discussion is going to require 2 responses. So therefore, there is a total of 4 responses that you have to do. If you look at week 1, discussion part 1, one response will always be due on Wednesday, and the other response will be due on Monday. Part 2, one response will be due on Friday, and the other one will be due on Monday as well. Now, not all weeks have 2 discussions. Most of them do, but I think if you look down, like here, week 3, there's just 1 discussion. Okay, so it's just a response due on Wednesday and the response due on Monday. And I think maybe some of this discussions might only have 1 topic. Well, I can't remember right now, to be honest. Okay, anyways, so let's look at some of these things. So if you look at this week, here's how most weeks are going to go. There's going to be some reading that you do. I might supplement that with some videos. This week, I don't really have a lot of videos to add to how to write, to reading this, so there's not going to be a lot of videos. But you're going to read these 2 things. These are both the same document. One is accessible, that I sort of translate, or that I guess copied and pasted from the PDF and tried to get the format right to get an accessible doc file. And this is the PDF. Week 1 assignment, and then 2 discussion posts. Okay, let's look at the week 1 assignment. There's going to be a homework due every Monday. So during this semester, we will learn various ways to communicate mathematics. In this assignment, you will pick one topic that you will use for the rest of the semester. Okay, so what's going on? We're going to learn how to explain mathematics to people using different things. Just writing, oral communication. We're going to learn how to make some visualizations. We're going to learn some Python programming to help us communicate things like this. You're going to have this project or this topic that you're going to be working with through the entire semester, okay? And you're going to be explaining that topic in different media. And that's what this week is. You are proposing a topic that you are going to be working with for the rest of the semester. Now, that's not locked in until the homework that's the week 3 homework that's due. Okay, so it's not locked in now. There's going to be some revision that we can go through here. So all of the homework assignments are going to look something roughly like this. So during the semester, we will learn various ways to communicate mathematics. In this assignment, you will pick one topic that you will use for the rest of the semester. For example, in week 3, an expository paper on this topic will be due. That is, the homework assignment for week 3 is this expository paper. Later, we'll make a video presentation and so on and so forth. So in this assignment, you will propose a topic. The topic should be rich enough to support a 4 to 6 page expository paper. So if you just say something like the quadratic formula, that's probably not going to be enough unless you really are going into the history, but then there's going to be more history than mathematics. So something, keep that in mind. So the deliverable, you will turn into paper. This can be either a .doc or a PDF. After this week, all papers will be written in LaTeX, and I will say more about this in just a moment. And you will share your overleaf project with me, but that part is going to be for next week. The proposal must clearly identify the following, and make it so that you have a heading that says mathematical topic, this, mathematically sophisticated audience, this, right? So don't make me try to read through it and read between the lines to figure out. So really make it very explicit what you're going to be talking about here. Still writing complete sentences and all of those sorts of things, right? That's one of the things that we're going to be communicating, that we hopefully will be communicating, if we're not already good at that, which I know in a math class and can sometimes get a little seem unnatural, but we're going to be doing that. So peer review. So we will be doing peer reviews for this entire semester. I think every single assignment that you turn in, you will do a peer review of it, and someone will do a peer review of yours. So in addition to writing the paper, you will also review the paper of one of your peers. What's going to happen is when the assignment is due, the assignment is going to be due on Monday, you will have a week to do your peer review. And you'll be, when you look in the assignment, you'll see that you have a peer review assigned. You'll click on it. You can either upload a document or type something in a text box. Okay. But I forget exactly, I can't remember if I say this here or not, but 2 of the 10 points for the assignment are going to be based on that peer review. So when I grade it, I'm probably going to grade them all on Tuesday. You turn them in on Monday, 11:59. I'm grading them on Tuesday. I will give you a grade. That grade that I'm giving you there is just for your work, and then I'll give you another grade for your peer review. Okay, but it's going to be, maybe you do everything exactly correct. I give you an 8 out of 10, and then when I see your peer review, I'll give you 2 more points. And I'll leave notes in the Canvas so you understand what's going on. Okay, and then you can read through here for the sort of peer review questions that you should be addressing. Now, one thing that I want to be absolutely clear here is a note on AI and plagiarism. There is not a no AI policy, as I say here. AI is allowed in the research of your topic. Like if I am, let's say, doing something on the quadratic formula, and I think I can make this into a topic, it's okay to ask, to get some factual information from some AI model about your topic. Like, oh, can you remind me what the quadratic formula is? Hopefully that's just a hypothetical example and nobody is asking in this class, asking that question. But I think you understand what I'm saying. But you should not be using AI to write your paper at all. You should not be bouncing ideas off of AI. You should not be using AI to critique your writing. You should not be using AI to make your writing sound better, or for cleaning up your language, or for brainstorming, editing, revising, writing phrases, sentences, paragraph. Essentially, when it comes to the writing process, if it did not exist in Microsoft Word 6 years ago, it's not allowed. Now, I am not saying that all of those things that I just mentioned are a bad use of AI. In fact, I use it I use AI in some of the ways that I just mentioned sometimes. So I'm not saying all of those are bad, but here's what I do not want to happen. And these rules also apply to the peer reviews as well. Okay, so here's what I do not want to happen. I do not want AI generated papers being peer reviewed by AI. That just doesn't make any sense, because we're talking about communicating to people. It needs to be a person communicating to a person. And it just doesn't make sense for me to try to say, okay, well, here are the things that are allowed and here are the things that are not allowed and this sort of thing. So it's almost in the communication of the mathematical ideas, it has to come from you. Now, at the end of the semester, we're going to talk about AI. And when we talk about AI, I'm not just going to give you a bunch of rules to use. We're going to talk about how we can use it. We're going to, in a community of this class, we're going to talk about how we can use AI, what ways we think AI would have helped us in this semester, what ways it might not have helped, the ways that it just would have made us do the work faster, but maybe not better, and we wouldn't have understood things better or whatever. I mean, we'll have all these sorts of interesting discussions, but at the end of the semester. For now, there's basically, you're not using AI at all in the writing process. I don't want to see it at all. Okay. And so again, I realize that is a strict policy, and I want to just say again, I'm not saying that all of those uses of AI are bad. I'm just saying for this class, we're not using that. I would much rather see quote unquote bad human writing than quote unquote good robot writing. It just seems soulless and blah. Okay. So I think that is what I want to say. Well, let me look at the discussion. Sorry. There are 2 discussions each week. In each discussion, there's going to be 2 responses. One response, you are going to I say exactly what to say here, how to respond in the first post. You're going to respond to that by Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. And your second post is going to be responding to one of your classmates' posts at 11:59, and that's due Monday at 11:59 p.m. One thing that needs to be clear here is we have to go beyond just saying, oh, hey, John, I liked it. John, you said X. I really liked it when you said X. We need some substantial interaction. And so if you look at what I have for some of these things, I give you ideas about what I want you to be talking about. So not so much for this week, but for the upcoming weeks for the second post, I give you some ideas that how you can interact with your classmates. Okay, so for example, I think next week you're going to share your proposal with the class, and then students can come and critique that proposal. So that's one of the things that's going to happen. Now, in this class, you're going to be writing everything that gets written, with some exceptions that we will see as we go. So, for example, the first week class, the first week is not like this. So the homework that's due, everything except for the first week and maybe some exceptions that I will mention week by week, is going to be written in LaTeX. So you're going to go to Overleaf. Yep, that's me. And you have all of these different, if you have never looked at Overleaf before, you won't have something that looks like this. It'll just be blank. But you're going to come over here, make a new project, and you can call it Math696. Okay, we will talk about LaTeX. That's what we're learning about next week. So if you don't know what's going on, that's fine. It's just like HTML, but for math. But again, we'll get to that next week. And what you're going to do, you're going to come over here, and you're going to share, and you're going to say viewer, and you're going to add my email address here, robram@tamu.edu, and click invite. And then I'm going to have access to see your Overleaf notebook. And I'm doing this because I want to be able to see how you edit your things. Because this is part of a sort of, so I can see what you're doing and sort of a check against AI. A check against AI usage. Anyways, because I just don't want that to happen in this class. And this is one of the best practices, having these Overleaf files. Okay. I think that's all that I want to mention this week. So read that Paul Halmos paper and make the discussion posts and come up with a topic proposal for what you want to think about. And I really love reading the topics that you guys choose to write about, because for the distance master's programs, you guys just know so much more about things than I do. And when you write about those and you're excited about it, it's a lot of fun for me to read. And so one of the things that I really want to make sure we're doing in this class is that we are working as a community. So the discussion post, the portion of this class is one of the most vital. It's not just busy work. We are discussing communication, and communication always involves a community. So communication doesn't make sense unless there's other people involved. So this class makes no sense at all unless there's other people involved, right? So we are going to be critiquing others. We're going to be critiquing ourselves. We're going to be doing all of these sorts of things. But unless it's a person-to-person interaction, that is no AI, but even aside from that, unless we're interacting with each other regularly, we're not going to get out of this class what we need to get out of this class, which is how to communicate well, right? Who decides whether or not you're communicating well, right? There's not a, you can't, get some sort of scientific analyzer or take it to a laboratory and objectively tell whether or not you're communicating well. It is completely dependent on the people to whom you are communicating. Okay, and so that's what we are going to try to do in this class. We want to try to come up with good ways that we think can communicate well, and that has to involve talking to each other about it. Okay, anyways, that's all that I think I want to put for this video, and I look very much forward to interacting with you guys in the homework assignments and the discussion post. I will be active in the discussion post as well, okay?